It matters. It feels the league. It feels big, and that's what's interesting with Kevin. It's one thing to leave the great team. If Mahomes ever left, he would go to a great coach. Hey, I want to go with Sean Payton.
Yes.
I want to go with Sean McVay. Like Stafford's like, I'm going to go find the guy. It's a weird move, and it has not worked out. So Milwaukee, Indiana, this could be problems from the beginning. Giannis is hurt. Indiana's a tough matchup.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's old. You kind of feel if Giannis is there, the NBA swallowed the whistles. They'll figure it out. But where are we inside that organization? So let's say Giannis comes back. Is it game 3, they think?
First of all, nobody has projected when he's going to come back. The update was from Doc Rivers. He's closer. Well, closer could mean a lot of things, right? I mean, I'm closer to being 80 years old. I'm not near it yet, though. So I just think we don't know. And I have to say, I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. And I am not inside the Bucks organization. I would be whatever is more conservative than conservative about bringing Giannis back. We have seen calf strains precede Achilles injuries more than once.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant went through it. And when he did, he missed the entire next year and the playoffs the following year. And by the way, yes, he has come back. He's not quite the player he was. He's pretty close, which is very, very impressive. But he has a totally different shooting style and body type than Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a completely different player. Giannis, at his size, with the way he plays, if he had to recover from an Achilles tear, that's a very, very troubling scenario. And if I'm the Bucks, this first-round series, as disappointing as it is, would not be worth it to me to rush him back in any way or even do the averages. I would be on the conservative side of conservative with him. And if that's the case, gosh, it looks like the Pacers would win this series, because the real key for the Bucks was going to be as efficient as possible. Make your shots so that the Pacers, who are younger and more athletic, can't just start running around in transition, right? Because they're faster. And when you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's a 2-time MVP, with his skill set not there, when you don't have him drawing double teams off Damian Lillard, when you don't have those easy buckets he can get inside, you're just giving the Pacers transition opportunities. And they did a 23-4 run the other day in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
So there's always been this feeling that when LeBron came to your franchise, you sacrificed everything to win now.
Yes.
And that used to reward you with final appearances. It was a lock in sports. Nick Saban would win the SEC. LeBron would get to the finals.
Yes.
2 locks in sports. Okay, and then LeBron now guarantees you're interesting, but he doesn't guarantee anything in the playoffs, especially in the much deeper West. And so when I suggested, I didn't think it was a hot take. I said, they match up really well with OKC. And they're not built to win the championship anyway. My concern is when they lose to Denver again in 4, the repercussions of losing. He'll want Darvin Ham out. D'Lo will be gone. He'll have questions about Austin Reeves. That they're not constructed to beat Denver. They're constructed to match up with them.
Yeah.
But LeBron has to literally play 40 minutes and play brilliant, and the team has to play perfect to win. And so now we are, a couple of weeks after that take, right where we thought we would be.
Yep.
You're down, love 2. You probably win a game, maybe. But what are the repercussions? LeBron's business is here.
Yeah.
But now his son could get drafted, could go elsewhere, little less loyalty. Is there any possibility or discussion? By the way, a story leaked yesterday. Did you notice this story leaked? Darvin Ham will be back. That was the Lakers ensuring everybody knew. Don't blame the coach.
Right.
We're not moving off the coach. Stuff gets out when people want it out.
Yes.
Is this a border skirmish? Is this, if they get swept, how do you feel about that?
Look, I'm with you. I think the Lakers win at least 1 game. Maybe they win 2 games.
Yeah.
But they're not winning, again, 4 of the next 5. They're not winning this series.
Yeah.
And they really were never set up to win the series, to your point. And it's funny, we used to call in the East when LeBron made it to 8 finals in a row. I used to say, it's the LeBron James Invitational. It's not the NBA Finals.
Right.
It's the LeBron James Invitational. That brick wall that LeBron put up in the Eastern Conference for all those years, that is what Nikola Jokic is starting to build in the West.
Yeah.
And it is possible that no other team, while he is in his prime, and that Denver team is constructed the way it is, and he and the partnership that he has with Jamal Murray and the chemistry they have toward the end of games with the entire team, it's possible no one's going to break through the brick wall that they're starting to build there. But they're definitely not doing it with this roster. I don't think it's just LeBron that's having some questions about the way the organization runs. Anthony Davis came out after the game and said, there are times we don't know what we're doing on both ends of the floor.
I heard that.
You were around the, 90th game of the season, between the season and the play-in and the in-season tournament and whatever. You got to know what you're doing on both ends of the floor. And by the way, you're playing a team in Denver that knows exactly what they're doing at every moment they're on the court. And that is a coaching thing. And it's not the first time that AD has said something like that, which seems like a side swipe at Darvin Ham. I don't blame Darvin Ham as much as Laker Nation does. Laker Nation is never happy with the coach. But I do think that you have to listen to the signals you're getting from the locker room. And you're getting some pretty loud signals from Anthony Davis.
And they immediately leak a story that Darvin Ham is safe. So it feels like there's tension building, and the series is only 2 games old. The New York story is fascinating.
Love it.
It's just great. And I know a lot of people watch this show. You guys talk about the big markets, but it should be noted the NFL is run by a team in Kansas City.
Yes.
We love Storrs, Connecticut, and Yukon. There's plenty of smaller market success stories. The NBA is better when New York is good. It's just big. I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago during the game. I'm like, I don't even remember a series like this. New York has 1 star. He's not playing well.
Right.
The other star is missing. You're playing a team with 2 stars, one who's considered a superstar, the other is an emerging star, and New York's clearly late in games the better team. It's contagious. You become a Knicks fan watching. The question being, if we don't view them as a championship team, they're not Boston or Denver. They're not. They don't have those scoring options.
They don't feel like they're there yet.
That's right. There is you can see they're overachieving at this point. You know the organization. They've been really rarely patient in 20 years, but they have been for 2 years. Like really about Tibbs, Jalen, growth, like really well run. The Knicks are a well-run franchise. They are going to make a move. Yeah,
no question. You look at what they're going to do. And by the way, they already kind of made a move by bringing in OG Anunoby.
Yes.
And he's not guaranteed to stay there. But his agent is the son of Leon Rose. So Leon Rose or Tibbs? It's Leon Rose, I think, is his son.
And he would be a great 3 to me. He's a great 3 in a potential championship team.
And by the way, Jalen Brunson is the son, right, of former Knick. So he had the inside track on that. And Leon, I believe, is his godfather. So the idea that they knew the pieces to plug in, Leon is so connected, right, and that the team has been so well run since he came in, since he brought Tibbs in.
How long has he been there?
A few years, as you point out. And by the way, I thought that was really interesting that The Athletic put out a player survey, right? And for the 3rd year in a row, Tibbs was voted the coach you'd least like to play for. And I'm sure that's a reference to all the minutes he plays guys, right? And the perception he runs guys into the ground. Guess what? The guys on that New York team play for Tibbs in a way that you don't see in a lot of franchises around the NBA.
And Rachel, it is a fairly young team. He's not asking a lot of old. Now, Jalen is not an old player, but it's got kind of a Villanova feel. And these are young legs.
Yeah. I mean, it has literal Villanova feel because some of the guys came from there. Right. And the idea that, yes, they built a team with young legs on purpose. He knows who his coach is. He knows his coach is going to run those guys ragged, and he's built a team that can withstand that. And they play aggressively. They play with heart. They play for each other. That's what you're seeing at the end of these games in New York, and the crowd feeds into it. I do expect things to be a little bit different in Philadelphia, but I also expect this series to somewhat go as Joel Embiid goes. There was a point in the 4th quarter where he's running up the court, and he actually hopped on one leg because he just couldn't put weight on his other knee in the way that he wanted to. He doesn't have lift on a lot of his jump shots. And I think that when you see that, even though you heard him after the game say, we're the better team, we're still going to win this series, it is hard to envision him being back to 100% while this series is still going on.
Yeah, there are teams. It really is funny. We say this all the time. I feel bad for sports fans who have bad owners. Washington for years.
Yes.
You're trapped as a Commander fan.
Absolutely.
Now you have new ownership. Al Davis at the end. You felt trapped. And there's not much to get out of that in the NFL except if you hit a transcendent quarterback. And the Knicks for years, I mean, James Dolan still owns it, but the front office was impatient. There was pressure. There is no question. If you watch the Knicks the last 2 to 3 years, you're like, oh, this is a well-run franchise.
Yeah. Dolan finally got to the point where he did what he said he was going to do for the 10 years prior, which was let the basketball people do the basketball things.
Is that part of that because he was building the Severe and his role
Maybe
got very
bigger.
big?
I mean, he told the New York Times, I don't even like owning a basketball team that much. I mean, it was pretty amazing. But maybe it was the right combination of him having failed enough times to finally learn his lesson and Leon coming around and being available and being someone who wanted to run the team and having just such great authority with his former life as an agent and having such great player relationships and understanding how the game works. But it's all come together. And as you said, they still have room. They still have the assets to add someone, and that's what's going to be really fun. And by the way, the Lakers are going to have the assets to add someone this summer, too.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see another shift, but with the Knicks, as long as it goes, the fact that they're facing an injured, beat-up Sixers team with Joel Embiid hurt, Tyrese Maxey sick, et cetera, and then if they advance, and Philadelphia still has something to say about that.
Played well yet.
Right. But if New York advances, they're facing either a young, not that experienced Pacers team or a Milwaukee team with a possibly shaky Giannis. So it's an interesting path. You can certainly see a path for it's possible to get to New York to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is not what you would have expected with Julius Randle out.
And over the next 5 years with sort of low juice, Denver, OKC, Minnesota, many of the very good teams, Orlando, or smaller markets, it feels like the Knicks are really big.
Yeah.
The league needs the Knicks. You'll have the Celtics.
Yeah.
But Denver's kind of the San Antonio Spurs. Low wattage in terms of high profile. Great construct. Yeah. Love watching them. Totally respect them. But it feels like there's this opening for the Knicks. And they're impossible to watch and not like.
And also, it's time. I know if you're a small market fan, I understand that feeling of, man, the Lakers get everyone every year, that kind of thing. The Knicks